You're listening to The Kylo Show, the podcast where we talk about how to keep your love on no matter what and why whole healthy families are going to save the world. And it starts right now.
Well, welcome to The Kylo Show. We are back and with one of our favorite people. She's saving our lives behind the scenes, guys. That's what she's doing. Margaret, thanks for joining us again.
So fun.
So fun.
So good. I came back again.
I know. It's like you
Why
never
not?
left yet. I mean, you're still here.
I'm still here.
You're still
It's
here.
like your chair was still warm.
It's just, you magically are here again. I love it.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
so good. Well, we're excited about the course that you've done and everything that you've just added to our world. It's just
Dr. Margaret Nagib,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
Nagib,
So,
however you say it.
It's either or.
Yes, is her full name and professional title.
Mm-hmm.
And we are bringing you back because we could and because you were still here.
They won't let me leave.
That's true, guys. We are going to get as much as possible out of this time together.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the questions we wanted to just start off with is what led you to choosing the title and the process to, picking what it is that you chose to talk on for our course, which is the course title is Overcoming Overwhelm, Understanding Stress, Trauma, and Triggers.
Mm-hmm.
So why, how did you get there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's too hard to understand how, given the last few years in all of our worlds.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but I did start noticing this one particular pattern with people coming to me is in the last few years is they're intelligent, they're highly functioning, they're doing all the right things, they have some good emotional intelligence, and they are locked up. So, and that looked like anxiety, waking up with panic, different variations of overwhelm, right? It looked different for different people, but they weren't able to kind of get past it. And when you live with overwhelm for too long, then you get overwhelmed by your own overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
And then you really feel a little crazy, right?
That's called circling the drain.
There you go,
Yes.
circling the drain. And so now you have layers upon it, and now you're getting anxious about the fact that you know what's happening in your body, but you don't know what to do about it. So I started realizing, oh my goodness, more than ever, we need help with understanding our physiology and how right now you're having a bodily reaction. And actually, I don't want to talk to you about, I don't want to process anything psychological with you. I just want to help you start with your body and learn that you absolutely have the power to shift your body right now in this moment. And I know that the minute I teach you to do that, you're going to be like, wait, it was that easy? Like, yes, it's that easy. But it is a skill. And I also have noted, we all know that our lives are so fast moving now, with technology, and we're experiencing stressors on a global way with the pandemic and everything else. But what's interesting about this, there was a pandemic. When was that one? 1800s,
The Spanish flu.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably
Thank you.
early 1900s.
I don't know
think.
history so well. But what's interesting about now is because we are a tweet away, we're a text away,
Post away.
we're a post away, where news is constantly coming at us. The brain wasn't, back when you were on Little House on the Prairie and something was happening in Europe, you didn't necessarily hear about it.
Yeah.
So now we get all this information about stuff that's happening in the world that's threatening, not just what's threatening in my own little world, but what's threatening, halfway across the world. And so now the brain's trying to manage that as well, and our minds and our hearts are trying to manage all of that. And it never ends. So we feel more out of control than we've ever felt before. And part of that is just the fact that we've more connected than we've ever been. And ultimately stress comes down to, whether it's stress, trauma, triggers, it comes down to feeling out of control.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to help people
Yeah.
recognize that feeling in control in the midst of a world that may be out of control is more accessible to you than you think. And if we can all begin doing that, then we can really address some of these big, problems that we need to address in a place of security and wholeness instead of a place trying to fix problems out of anxiety.
Well, if that wasn't enough reason for you to go get the course immediately, I don't know what would be, because feeling powerful and you're overwhelmed is,
And if you're not that person, you know that person.
yeah.
You're watching that person. Maybe you live with them or you work with them or whatever, but the patterns of this world are scary. I mean, it's just there's just such a spirit of fear at work in the globe, and I think it's so much easier, maybe, or I'm not sure what it feels so much more impactful today because of that technology, because I think the news used to be finding out about what happened,
Right.
and now the news is about finding out about what's happening
Right now.
Yeah, so you walk up and you see a building that's burnt down. You're like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Or you're standing in the building while it's on fire.
Right.
Those are completely different cortisol levels. Those are completely different adrenaline levels.
And your nervous system doesn't always know the difference.
No.
So if you're sitting there watching the news and now you're really like working yourself up over the news,
Yeah.
your nervous system will go, oh, we are in a threat, and it will kick on as if you were in the burning building. Right.
Exactly.
So if you don't, when you understand that, that's also a game changer, because then I can pause myself and go, oh, I am working myself up about this. I am starting to perceive this in such a way as if it's happening right now in my home. I'm no good use to anyone in that. I can't help the people over in Ukraine when I am now creating an anxiety ball sitting in my living room about something happening over there. So, okay, let me slow this down, get back to my rational mind instead of my survival mind.
Yeah.
And then if this is really important to me, which obviously it is, what action do I want to take to be a part of the solution, instead of being caught up in my own anxiety
And then sitting in that.
and just sitting in it?
That's what I feel it happens all the time, is we just become overwhelmed and we sit in it hoping it'll pass, maybe. I'm assuming that's the hope. I'm sure that's been the Netflix. Keep going. Keep going.
Well, then you're in shutdown. Nervous system is in shutdown, where it's like the device that overheats, and so it just shuts off. And it's also a way of trying to protect you. You don't know what to do. You're overheating, and so your body just goes, okay, we'll just sit here until you hopefully. But oftentimes that can feel more debilitating, because you want to do something. You want to do something, but you can't activate. Like, you literally can't activate yourself in that moment because your nervous system is in shutdown.
I have so much to do. I think I'll take a nap.
I mean, yeah. Oh, by the way, we have a lot of access to information, which causes that we can't control. And we also have more access than we've ever had to escape.
Absolutely.
Netflix, scrolling.
Totally.
And you can't blame people for that, because they're overwhelmed and it's almost like you need a minute, right? But there's a difference between productive and unproductive.
Yeah.
When it's unproductive, you sit there thinking, I'm going to relax. You got your favorite ice cream, you got the TV show queued up, you've got your comfortable sofa, and then 2, 3, 4 hours later, you still feel pretty bad or worse, versus, an hour later, you feel better. So sometimes we mistake relaxation for helping our nervous system when it's not really helping our nervous system. We're actually just escaping.
This is why I love my tractor. I just love it. It feels like a gigantic lawnmower. It just feels like I just go out there and my brain just disconnects from all the stuff I'm escaping, and I got this job done.
You got
I look back and go,
something
all right, that's just fantastic.
Well, you may be doing some healthy, just enough to get you doing something while you're giving your body and mind a chance to come back down.
It's my
to
video
rest.
game.
Yeah.
It's my video. I just totally disconnect. And
If it works for you,
it totally
it's
does.
legit.
It totally does.
Go mow the lawn.
With all that's going on, all the craziness in the world, and it's almost like we're in a room that's filling up with water, and no one realizes how much water's, and then eventually, we're bobbing. We got our head tipped back, and now we're kind of
It's a good
treading water.
analogy.
I don't know that people are paying attention to how much energy goes into treading the stress level.
That's really good. It takes a ton of energy.
Oh.
That's why you can sit there and feel completely tired after sitting on the couch for 4 hours and yet still feel tired. Because inside, your nervous system is over functioning, trying to regulate you.
Yeah.
So, needing to, can you begin to identify what stress looks like for you, what your patterns look like? Do you tend to more shut down? Do you tend to more go
Busy.
get busy? Yeah.
Ben always says,
Yeah.
you're always moving.
Yep. That's
No,
also
I
a
don't know what you're
form.
talking about.
I got it from my mother. Yes. If Sherry jumps up in the middle of a conversation and starts cleaning the house, you're like, oh, Sherry's getting stressed out. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I'm actually jealous of you guys because I do the opposite. And at least you have something to show for it after. And I'm like, well, I just saw the whole series of that show in one day. That's my accomplishment for the day. Yeah.
I don't always pick necessarily productive things of cleaning the house. I go, I'm going to go give all the goats shots right now because that sounds more exciting
Oh.
than I guess it's still productive. They need their shots, but
So do it mindfully now,
yeah.
right? Do it mindfully like, ooh, I'm stressed out.
Hey,
I'm
she did this
needing it.
yesterday. Here she comes again.
Poor goats.
No, run away. Yes, no,
Where's she
they.
getting all these shots?
That's great. That's great.
You're only getting one dose of shots.
Yep.
Oh. So there is you become kind of, that's the searching for the normal. That's how we operate? Our stress state, does that ever become your normal? Because you're so overwhelmed?
Oh gosh, a normal stress state. Yes, you can live and be addicted to the hormones of stress. So our body learns by repetition, and then it's as if this becomes the operating system. This is what's normal, right? So you could actually try to go on vacation, and it can be super calm, and your brain can go, boring. What are we doing? Where's my hit of cortisol and adrenaline? And you will create stress. How? By starting to think about the problems that you have back at home, even though you're on vacation. Why? Because your body is now running the show because it's used to living at this level.
Wow.
So that's why, and that's what I'm seeing when people were coming to me and going, oh my gosh, they don't even know that they're stuck in this, and now they're almost addicted to it. And when I say addicted, I don't mean addicted in the normal, sense, but yes, your body, this is how your body functions and what your body expects. And so it's almost as if you need it to keep
Just to feel
going.
normal.
Just to feel normal, even though
So if
you
I'm
feel
running,
abnormal.
if I'm running at 7,000 RPM in my daily work,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I bump up to 8,500
Yeah.
RPM, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, okay, this is too much. So I go on vacation and I dial it down to 1,500.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I feel like something's wrong.
Absolutely. And you may need time.
I'm stressing out
Yeah.
about, is this what it feels like to die? Maybe this is what dying feels like, No, it's just, I keep, okay, well then we're gonna, and then we're gonna, and then we're gonna.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you can go from a daily life of 7,000 RPM to down to 1,500 idle, or
No.
1,100 idle, whatever
Can
it
you
is.
do it with practice or
Well,
mindfulness?
this is the other hard thing I noticed sometimes with clients and even in my own life is we're all making choices. And for some reason, we start to have this perception that we're not human and we can do all of these things. And
I
part of it is
never
because
think
we have
that.
this phone where we can do anything at any moment at any time.
Yeah.
So we're no longer having the normal breaks that we have. Like I can do more and I can be more productive and I can make more money. And it's true. But at what price? You're paying such a price for this. So sometimes it's not just learning the body's part of it, of stress, but like, okay, can we get back to your value priorities? And what's most important to you is what happened with you and your kids when you did that SWOT analysis. What's really most important to you? And, you're doing this, this, and this. And because you're doing this and this, you never actually get to that. So in order, number one, it's what do I value most? And then what do I have to let go of in order to pursue that? And sometimes we don't want to let go of those things. But then guess what? You're choosing something else. So that's part of, I think, stress as well, is what are your priorities, and are you willing to let go of the things that keep you from that? And that might mean not making as much money that year, or and that's, I think, where our identities get connected, right?
Exactly. Traveling around, going into areas where there's lots of human beings sitting around. These days, there's no one just sitting there with their eyes shut or sitting there, with just people watching or whatever. It is 99% of people looking at their phones. So there's a level that people just cannot fall below of engaging their brain and their stressor, and they're scrolling, they're texting, they're engaged. It's almost like, I went to the bathroom, I forgot my phone. Oh, what am I gonna do in here? Well, you're in the bathroom. Go ahead, But there's this. I'm afraid of chunks of time with nothing to do.
Yeah.
How long can we do this?
Oh, we can do it until we,
Blow a gasket.
Change.
blow a gasket, which
Yeah.
is usually when people come to
Go-
see
go-
me. Yeah. And like I said, they're the high functioning leaders, who have done that. And so we have to create margin and figure out how to do that. And it's hard. It's hard when it's like trying to eat healthy when,
When you've only ever
there's
eaten
only,
Twinkies.
yeah. And all that's
When I didn't
accessible
shop for
to
it.
you. Yeah. And it's
Seriously.
culturally normal. We've made it normal,
Mhm.
right? Even our kids, right?
Yeah, let's
The
talk
amount
about
of
our kids,
things.
because
Yeah.
I've got 3,
Okay.
and we are in a world of. I mean, when everything first happened, I remember telling them, "Guys, you're going to be in history books. This is," and Delaney would go, "I'm tired of being in a history
Yeah,
book."
yeah.
That
You
was
start
her
writing
response.
history.
I
Good
don't
on
want
her. Good on her.
I don't want to be part of this history book. I'm like, okay, I was trying to give you like the positive of, I don't know what's happening. But they are exposed to and have access to more technology and the world, like we've talked about, than ever before, and having to field probably stressors that are different than what all of us grew up with. How do we help them by identifying, leaning in? I mean, probably getting healthy ourselves is the first way to lead in this. But how do we set them up for success in this environment that we're currently living in when it comes to stress, trauma, and triggers?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about kids is they're better at staying in the present moment. And stress, trauma, and triggers takes you out of the present moment.
Okay.
And what you're talking about with the bathroom and all of that is we don't know how to be present in the moment because then we have to feel something and we don't know what to do with that or whatever. Or it's just a pattern. We're used to going to our phones.
Distraction.
That's all. So kids are much better at that. And they love that. So if you can just continue to nurture that, that not everything they're doing is on the computer or
So
on their
family game
phone.
night,
Family game.
going for walks, like
And let them lead you. Like
Mhm.
you had me over for dinner last night and your son was clearing out the dishwasher and he's being a kid and he's playing Jenga with, with the Tupperware.
of course.
And kids are so good at enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to learn from them.
Mhm.
So let's use them to lead the way. And while we do that, we're helping out ourselves and we're reinforcing to them what's
There's a
already
value.
natural to them. They're much more resilient than us, and this is normal for them, whereas we're adjusting. Like I remember a time before my iPhone.
Totally.
I do. It
Wow,
feels
you
like
got a good memory.
distant memory. So they're still kids and they actually can lead the way because they're so good at being present. So ways in which you nurture that in them and reinforce it. And then as a family, right, use that.
And that's not going to happen on accident.
No, probably not.
What's going to happen on accident is what's currently going on, which is everybody just got their face in their screen. So you have to have some intentionality behind a family game night and a walk, and we're going to sit around and talk and stare at the fire, or we're going to do this. We're going to go play. That has you're like antisocial if that's what you're doing these days. You're like you're going to breaking the pattern of your children's momentum that culturally we've created for them. They're just enjoying the fruits of our labors, really, in all this distraction and disconnectedness. You're gonna have to have a plan. I mean, you got to have a deliberate, concentrated plan for when they don't like
Sure.
not being able to do what is so easy to do.
And what all their friends are doing.
Everybody
right?
they know, including you.
Including you.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think that's the battle of, Adeline's almost 13, and she has that iPad, but she wants a phone. She wants a phone so she can, because she doesn't take her iPad with her to youth group. She doesn't take her iPad with her to the grocery store. It's at the house. But if she had a phone, she could basically take the iPad with her. And I just look at this thinking, man, there's only a window of time that I get to keep saying no to this that protects you from the iPad going with you everywhere you go. And I think Ben and I are trying really hard to not just give a full yes to something that feels that, I mean, I look at our life. We didn't have one. I didn't have one until I had a cell phone when I was 16, but did not do anything.
Yeah, flip phone.
that these
I was
phones
just
could
at a
do.
retirement home the other day, and there was a guy sitting there with a flip phone. I was like, yep,
God bless.
Right.
yep.
So knowing I didn't have access to all those things, I got to be present in the moment of driving, and you have to entertain yourself. You have to go find the creek. You have to go find the, you don't have maps. We had pieces of paper that we had to figure out what exactly does that mean in 300 feet. I'm turning left. 1,000, 2, there's, I feel like there's a mystery that the children nowadays are missing out on engaging in a world of creativity that I think, they are defaulting to being worried about if they're mastering the TikTok dance or not.
Right.
Being relevant.
Well, you're talking about teaching them how to use technology as a tool instead of technology running their lives.
Yeah.
Right.
And the thing that's probably most concerning to me is how we are disconnecting our body, soul, and spirit with technology. We're just literally compartmentalizing ourselves to be unaware. Like everybody I know that comes and sees you says, "Oh man, the thing that helped me the most was paying attention to my body, paying attention to what, where I am and what's going on, and essentially being present." And I think, these technological tools are helping us be so distracted that we don't have to deal with the pain of the integration and deal with reality. We're escaping reality through this addiction. Essentially, it's a relationship with a thing that I control instead of actually dealing with the painful emotions of I'm all stressed out. I feel out of control. I feel overwhelmed.
Right.
And then we're teaching that to our children. That's what concerns me most.
So how can we begin to learn ourselves and know when it's gone too far?
Yeah.
When I start to feel off, okay, maybe I'm relying on my technology too much. But when I'm not relying on it too much, then it's this wonderful tool that makes my life
Totally.
better. I don't want to
Hot fudge sundae.
make all technology
Sure.
bad.
No.
But can you be so in tune with when do you feel alive? What's happening when you feel alive? Chances are you're not on your phone the whole day. Right. So it's just about
Maybe you use your phone
knowing
to get to that great
yourself.
trail.
There you go. Yeah. Use the phone to get
And-
to the trail and then at some point turn it off or whatever.
Take a photo.
But it's all about what do you value most? What makes you feel most alive? How is this a tool for me? How do I overconsume it sometimes? And then I just feel funky and out of sorts and I don't feel good. And then I use more technology to feel better, but it doesn't really actually make me feel better.
100%.
And we can become addicted to technology just like anything else. You get major hits of dopamine every time you hear that little bling bling. Like, developers know this science better than you know this science,
sure
and
they
they're
do.
using it because they want you to, open your Instagram often and open this often. So why don't you learn the same science so that you can make it, benefit you? Now, I don't cover that as much in the course, but
it's just wisdom you're giving.
it starts with knowing your body, and that will help you know, am I going down the path that feels most aligned to me or not? Your body knows way before you do, and it's sending you signals. And if you ignore them over and over, the signals get louder and louder and more painful and harder to recover from. But your body Your body loves you. It's just trying to help.
Just
Give it
please
some love
listen.
back.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so easy to get so disconnected from ourselves?
Well, we all have our ways of dealing with stress,
Uh-huh.
right? We talk about this in the course.
Mhm.
When we're dealing with stress unproductively, I call it check out or freak out,
Yeah.
right? Because once again, we're dysregulated in here,
Mhm.
and dysregulated just means I'm at capacity and I'm beyond capacity. I can't quite manage it. And so I'm overworking in order to trying to, I'm not at my, really good place. And so sometimes what we'll do is just completely check out, right? And so technology is a good way
Yep.
to check out. Or on the other hand, we may freak out, which is when we just get really anxious and over amped up. So notice your patterns. Do you check out? Do you freak out? Use that moment to pause and then go straight to your body. What's happening in there? I'm overheating. Okay, what do I need to do to kind of slow down, breathe, get a chance? I'm in survival mode, whether I realize it or not.
Mhm.
Let's get back to, my thinking mode. Survival modes, calm down. And now I can actually think about what just happened. What do I need to do? Did I really want to spend all morning on, looking at my Instagram or whatever? No, actually, I didn't want to do it. It doesn't feel good. What do I want to do? And then, what if you actually set an intention for your life and then move towards that? And then I get a hit of dopamine because I set an intention for what I really want out of life. And then I did it. At the end of the day, I check that off my thing. And then my brain lights up for me. And I'm like feeling like $1,000,000 versus my brain lighting up for me because I got another, I watched another TikTok or I did this or I did that.
So that's the checkout. What's the freak out?
Well, freak out is when you're more in a fight or flight thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're feeling like you have to do something. That can just look like running around, like
Checking boxes.
checking boxes.
Busy work.
Or for me, it usually looks like I'm doing a lot, but then at the end of the day, I'm like, what did I actually accomplish?
Yeah.
But I did so much today.
Mhm.
But you're anxious, and so that
But
energy.
you're exhausted, but you didn't do anything.
right.
So,
Or doing all the other things, but.
or maybe you snapped at somebody. Is that
Yeah.
another freak out?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the nervous system either responds with fight, flight, freeze, or shut down. Those are the major ones. So it's good to just kind of know when you check in with your body, that's what you get to find out. Do I feel like I'm in fight or flight or freeze? Okay, well then adjust. What do I need to do to help myself? If I'm in shutdown and I'm sitting on the couch for one too many, hours, I need to energize myself. I need to do something that's going to get me going. For me, it's usually go out, get in nature, go for a walk, do something physical. Even if sometimes I'll just go to Target just to go to Target and walk around because I just need to get out of the house and get myself moving. If I'm more of an anxious,
Busybody.
flight person, well, I need to learn how to breathe. I need to learn how to slow down. I need to learn to get back to a restful state.
Yeah.
And if I'm a fighter, well, then I need to I need to recognize that when I'm irritable, angry, mad at the world, I feel out of control.
And it's no one's fault.
It's
and
no
they
one's
should not target it
fault.
at anybody.
And
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if someone were to struggle with that.
yeah. So these are all ways we can just get more self-aware of our nervous system and what's happening.
I think
And,
I've recently learned, especially being around you, I'm able to identify. I think when I'm playing around with the piano, I don't really know how to do it, but I'm having fun playing. But that makes me pause, and it is such a relaxing experience. Even though I know one or two of the same songs, who knows if it's actually correct, my finger placement, but it's just this. It's a still moment that brings a lot of joy. And that is a release of, okay, I just took a moment for myself.
I would call that a meditative moment. So everyone
Okay.
thinks meditation is, and and it is, but that's an activity that's meditative for you.
Okay.
So anything where your brain starts to slow down and you have just enough focus for your brain to kind of have something to hold, but you go into that flow or that zone. I liken it to when you're working too hard on your computer, too quick, and then your mouse starts to spin.
Yes.
And if you're impatient like me, I click it more, which makes it worse, right? Until finally, you just have to sit back and go,
Restart.
How long do I have to wait for this mouse to stop
Totally.
spinning?
That was true. How long do I have to be patient?
So is what's happening for you, and then playing your piano is the stepping back and allowing that mouse to slow down, and it's doing it in a way that feels really good.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, I was thinking about that, and I'm like, that is definitely what's happening in this moment.
Yeah.
But
So what
we-
are
we-
the
we
things
always
that
go-
you love to do that actually do that for you?
yeah,
And start doing more of those. Fit it into your day every day.
Hmm.
You know, back when we churned the butter and actually cooked food and chopped all the vegetables every night, that actually provided that meditative
sure.
activity naturally for us.
I think everybody should have a tractor. Oh, we're back to that.
You are.
That's a great idea. Why not?
Everyone needs
Why
a
not?
tractor,
I
a
love my
piano, and
tractor.
chop your vegetables. That's what we're
Chop your
doing.
vegetables. That's what I do sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if we just like put our phone away for 3 hours.
Well, I can tell you what would happen right away. First, we would go into withdrawal.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
You would go into physiological, psychological withdrawal. There's two types of addictions, psychological, physiological, and phones trigger both.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd have to go into withdrawal for a little while.
Yeah.
And then eventually you might actually feel a little, a little kick in your step. Might
Sure.
feel really good.
I know. I just think that if there was a pattern, a habit that you built in your life that just, okay, there you go.
It's one of my favorite things to do when I get home is to go upstairs and put my phone. I don't think that the girls at the office love it because then I don't ever respond to them, but I put my phone next to my bed, so it's difficult to get. Usually it ends up back downstairs because a child wanted something on it, and so they brought it to me. But I like to, when I can, put it up there and just leave it up there for the rest of the night. It's one of my favorite things because then I'm like, I don't need you. I do love that. I've learned to love that. I don't get to do it every time, but
I think the prize of doing that is you start to feel more connected to yourself.
Sure.
And like, oh, I kind of like myself. Oh, I have these ideas. I have these thoughts. There's these you feel connected in a positive way to yourself. You're going to feel more connected to your world in
that's
a more
where
positive
I think
way.
I feel more connected to being present with the kids, talking
Yeah.
through, trying to understand the math problem that's in front of me that I haven't done since I was in 4th grade.
Always when I disconnect, I also feel more connected to God then.
Sure.
Because I'm not like in my own swirl where I can't even hear anything because I'm just in my own swirl. So we just feel more human, right?
In your work with people, I mean, is there a recognizable difference in stress levels between people that live urban and people who live rural? Would you say that there is a level of how much water's in the tank with them?
So everyone's nervous system is different, and what you can tolerate is different. And different seasons in your life, it's different. So I'm from New York. I grew up in New York. And when I was younger, I loved all that stimulation. I just loved it. I thrived on it.
Had
Please.
so much energy, I didn't know what to do
I
with
lived
it.
in the suburbs, but I'm like, get me out of the suburbs. Let me go to the city. No, I loved it, and I'm energized by it. And now I'm in a season where it doesn't energize me. So I lived in LA for a little bit in 2020, and I came away going, I need peace. I need beauty, and I'm not finding peace and beauty in LA. Right?
No?
I had to work for it really hard, and if you have to work for it,
It's exhausting.
why bother?
Yeah.
But everyone's nervous system is different. So you both can step into the same situation, and one person can feel really overwhelmed and overstimulated, and another person can feel energized. So it really is about knowing you and what you need.
Where you are in life.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that you say that, because I do remember coming back from LA and people were like, so why did you? And I was like, I don't really know fully, but I can tell you this. My nervous system didn't like it. And that's the honest truth.
And you're paying attention.
I really wanted to like living. I wanted it to work so bad, but my nervous system couldn't handle it. So I had to go back.
I do think that's funny when people come to the farm and they see it, and some people just think, oh, this is amazing. It's so beautiful, so peaceful, so
A
quiet.
dream and a nightmare.
And then there's some people that have a panic over, what do you do? What happens with these animals? You're responsible for so many things. And I
It
just
stimulates them, right? It's too much for them.
I've heard of people going, I couldn't hear anything, and it was freaking me out.
Yep.
I was like, it's
It caused
freaking
them
me out.
stress.
So
So
we have people
quiet
that
out
watch
here.
the house, and I love them, and they will say, there's no light, There's
Mhm.
no car noise or sirens, and
Yep.
I was so sure I was going to die. I'm like,
Yes.
you didn't find the silence peaceful? No, it was disturbing.
Yeah,
So that
makes
is,
complete sense.
and
Their
they are
nervous
more city
system's like,
people.
this feels safe for me.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't feel safe for me.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep in mind as we make life choices. Like, you're going to keep fighting your physiology.
Mm.
Probably not a good idea long term.
Yeah.
It kind of gives new meaning to finding your peace,
Yeah,
Mm.
there you go.
because my peace isn't your peace,
It really isn't.
you know, and I got to find mine, you know, and you got to find yours.
Yeah,
And one size does not fit all,
right.
as is true with most of life, you know.
Yes. Mhm.
So good.
That's so good. I mean, Margaret, you are a gem to be around. Like, you just absolutely
Oh, shucks,
radiate
thanks.
just so much positive mindset and awareness, and you're so much fun to work with. I mean, I had a
Thanks.
blast. I think the whole team did as well, and I think even talking through different things here and the help that you've given me, I hope that everyone that's listening sees you as just this beautiful addition to our world
Mm-hmm.
that we want them to take advantage of in the best way.
Mhm.
So the course that we have is Overcoming Overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And it is something that's going to really bring a lot of breakthrough for people, I think, in a way that maybe they haven't experienced or didn't think of. I think there's a lot of moments or stop talking. That was what I was experiencing when we were in there. But Dad, what do you think for our listeners? What are you hoping that they experience from Margaret, since she's such a good friend of yours and for years? And I feel like I'm
Mhm.
just jumping in on the friend boat, which is great.
Yeah.
But you've got more experience. What are you hoping that they? walk
Well,
away
I just want people to meet her. You know, I just want people to get the benefit of her in their life. And we have the best friends in the world. I mean, the people that we know is just like, seriously?
Yeah.
Everybody should know these people.
Yeah.
And then I really do, you know, even in this course, I want people to find the skill set to bring together body, soul, and spirit, you know, to
Yeah.
begin to experience success and eventually habit and eventually lifestyle. Like, okay, this is my character. This is just how I deal with situations like this, is I can bring it all together. If I need a redo, I get a redo. If I saw it coming, I was ready for it before it got here. But I know how to function in wholeness instead of compartmentalize and stay distracted and let the water level keep going until I'm drowning. So I think just finding peace. And my hope is that this course will help people find peace.
That's great.
Do you want to add anything to that? Talk about how wonderful you are.
No, but I'll talk about the course and just say, like, if any of this resonates, you know, for you and you want an entry, you know, it's not the end all be all, but it's a starting place.
Yeah,
It'll
that's
get you
great.
started. And if you want an alternative to checking out, freaking out, or medicating, you know, yourself in order to try to regulate
Yeah.
and to really feel free of these things, then it's a good place to start.
It is a great place to start.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us. And if what you heard today was something that you are interested in, I would strongly encourage you to go check out the Overcoming Overwhelm course that Margaret did. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next time on The Kylo Show.
Thanks for listening. Never miss an episode of The Kylo Show by subscribing to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch us on the Loving on Purpose YouTube channel. Don't forget to submit your questions and testimonies to thekyloshow.com. The Kylo Show is produced by Ali Armerding, co-produced by Ashley Beck and Anna Hill, sound engineered and edited by Taylor Silk, and show promoter Christian Zamora. Don't forget, whole healthy families gonna save the world.